everybody. Happy Friday night. Welcome to my Zen Den. My name is Mandy Van Havermit, and I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up from Great Eagle, Minnesota. And I'm so happy that you could join me tonight. Look it's green outside. It's so pretty. Oh, it's been so great outside. I have been gardening. I have been walking. I have been hiking in the woods. I have been outside so much lately, and I'm loving it. But I've also been playing in my craft room with some of the new product out of the new annual catalog. And I have, for you tonight, patchwork dies. And they're kind of a little bit of a sleeper because they're a standalone die, which means that they don't really go with any kind of suite and they don't stand out necessarily unless you're kind of looking for them. So I'm going to share them with you tonight, and I'm really excited. You guys are going to love these things. So let's flip the camera around and we will get stamping. All right. So I am not sure if it's spring where you are, but oh my gosh, it was the longest winter ever. So happy to have spring. And I'm going to show you what these dies are. They are in the new catalog. I should have been prepared. Right here they are. They are on page 165 of the new annual catalog. And if you look on back here, something to be mindful of when you're going through the catalog, there are quite a few dies in this catalog that are standalone. These nested essentials are kind of a standalone die also. And so be mindful of them. Sometime when you're bored, right, go through and look and just kind of peek at the dies. And it says, see these dies in use on page 55. So we'll go buzz up to 55 and show you what they look like. Here's the one. It's kind of split. The Starburst one is kind of more split. And this one here, they've like cut the panel apart that they're using with this die. So I'm going to show you a little bit different version of this die tonight. So here they are. These are the dies. There's two, and they measure roughly 3 1/8 by 4 5/8. So they will fit on the small note cards that Stampin' Up carries also. But I'm going to show you, we're going to use this die right here. So I'm going to show you just a little card that I have planned out. So here's the list of what we're going to use. I've got a piece of Night of Navy. That's 4, I should say 4 1/4, not 4 1/2. 4 1/4 by 11, scored down the middle at 5 1/2. So a basic card panel. And then I've got 2 pieces of Balmy Blue. One of them is 3 3/4 by 5. One of them is 3 1/8 by 5 or 4 5/8. I'm going to tell you I like to have this size when I've been using these dies, and I'll show you why in a little while. I've got a piece of Calypso Coral, and this is just a rough piece. I'm going to be die cutting this, so roughly 3 1/2 by 5, just big enough that your die will fit on there. Okay, and then I've got a piece of Designer Series paper. This is from the Le Shop's Designer Series paper pack, and I think this is a really pretty piece of paper. Really interesting paper pack. And so just there again, big enough that your die is going to fit on. So I've got it cut at 3 1/2 by 5. Then I've got a piece of basic white for the inside. And then I've got a piece of basic white for my sentiment that I'm going to be using later. So I'm going to cut out 2 of these dies, okay? So let's bring out our plates here. So when we're die cutting, we're going to use the die cutting sandwich. So we're going to use plate 1, plate 2, and 2 plate 3s, okay? So, and because this is a square die, keep in mind, you don't want to send your die going through your machine straight on. You want to kind of canter it a little bit. It's easier on the die. It's easier on the plate. It's easier on your machine. So make sure that you just got a corner going through first if possible. Okay, so then we're going to put our second plate number 2 on there, or plate number 3, and I'm going to run it through the die cutting, the cut and emboss machine. All right, so this is what you get when you run it through your cut and emboss. It's going to cut your paper into 6 little slices that I'm going to just sit right up here like this, okay? Okay, and now I'm going to do the same thing with my designer series paper. I'm going to kind of canter that just a little bit and send it through my cut and emboss machine. All right. So now we've got our die. I'm going to set that right up there. Got our little border. Take care of that. And then I'm just going to set these up here. And I like to keep them in order because that's how my brain works. I could figure it out if I didn't keep them in order, but my brain works a lot better when they are just sitting here in order. So now I'm going to take that smaller piece of balmy blue. There's a reason that I'm using balmy blue, and that is because I'm going to layer these onto this piece. And if any of the edges show, they're going to be hidden when I put it on here. You can't really see that edge then. So let's get to it. The way I have found that's easiest for me is to put adhesive. I am a seal, or a, oh my word. Yeah, Stampin' Seal. This is my choice of adhesive. This is what I like to use. You can most definitely use glue, but I'm going to start with a Calypso Coral. So I'm going to take the corner one, the top, the one that's on the very edge, and I'm going to line that up with my corner. So like right here and right here. Okay. Now I'm going to take the next piece that would fall into the die. So I'm going to take this one and I'm lining that up as well. So just make sure it's lined up here and it's lined up here. Okay, so now I'm going to take the next Calypso Coral piece and you can see how pretty this is coming along. This is like the coolest die ever. I loved it when I saw that. I'm like, that's the first thing I'm buying. And it really was the first thing in my cart when I was able to put in my order. I think this die is just the coolest die in the world. Okay. Now I'm going to take this one. Do you see why I set them side by side? Because then I can literally like, oh, this is the next one. Okay, stick that on there. And then our very last piece. And just follow it along. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, I love that. So now guess what? You've got another card here you can make with the same pattern, only opposite, right? So when I'm done with my live, I'm going to make this card also. So we'll set that aside. Oh, that's pretty. All right, let's build up our card. So we're going to take our Night of Navy, fold that in half. And then I am going to, so now this one actually laid out pretty nicely. I don't have much of an edge. There's a little bit down here and a very little bit. I don't even think you can probably see it on the camera. But it'll hide, it'll camouflage on there because I've got that balmy blue kind of camouflaging it. My oopses, if I had any oopses. So let's adhere that down. And I want to share with you also that there is a paper sale coming, a designer series paper sale. Starting, it's going to be all of June. So this paper, any paper, basically all the regular designer series paper that's in the new annual catalog and the Hello Irresistible paper that's on the online exclusive will be on sale. So get your list ready with the designer series papers that you wanted, and they will be available here starting. Oh, they're available now, but they'll be available at a discount starting June 1st and running through the entire month of June. So that's very exciting. Oh, those are the coolest colors ever in the world together. Okay, so I am going to be using the stamp set Courage and Faith. This is also one of the new stamp sets in the new annual catalog. And I'm going to be using the sentiment, Trust in the Lord with all your heart, Proverbs 3:5. Just a beautiful stamp set. If you're ever looking for Christian-based stamps, this is a really good one. May the Lord bless you and keep you. In everything, give thanks and be of good courage. Great, 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 great stamp set. So this piece of basic white happens to be 1 1/4 inches wide, and it's going to fit nicely. I don't necessarily trim it to what I want it until I'm done, because I want to make sure that I get my stamp on there correctly. Takes the pressure off a little bit. So, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Words to live by, most definitely. And I used Calypso Coral ink. So I'm going to take a piece. I have got a piece of adhesive right there. There you go. All right. Take a scissors. And if you didn't trust your scissors, you can most definitely take a cutting your trimmer. But I felt confident. So I'm going to put that on there. But I wanted a little bit behind, a little bit of an accent. So this is also an online exclusive. It comes in a pack of silver and gold. It's 1/8 inch metallic ribbon. Really pretty, super dainty. I'm going to just do a little bit of a stay down there. Let's see, that's the bottom. I want this side out. And basically, I'm just going to do a little Z. Is how I do this. A little bit this way, a little bit that way. This is not as hard as I'm making it look. Do you ever have moments? I'm having a moment. Okay, there we go. I just thought it added a little bit of pizzazz to it. All right. So now I'll take some dimensionals and bump that up. I think this is like the prettiest card in the world. I love it. I think I'm going to go on this side over here, just so we can see our beautiful designer series paper. There we go. That is our, oh, let's put an inside in. I think this would be a great thinking of you card, a great sympathy card. Change the sentiment up. It could be an anything card. It's just a phenomenal, beautiful card. So, there we have it. So there is, if you want to take a screenshot, and then I will show you a couple of other cards that I had. Same, basically the same card, just a little bit different colors. This paper is from Tranquil Textures, and then this is the new Pecan Pie color. I just think that's beautiful. Another great card. This is the other die. This is one way to use that. What I did is I actually cut it, and when you cut that die, there's a little hole right in the middle. It actually holds together reasonably well if you're very careful with it. So I took them apart, and then I pulled it out a little bit and made the square with a piece of designer series paper, and I thought that turned out really fun. And then this set of cards, I actually cut out three different times with this die. I cut one out in designer series paper, one out in the bubble bath, and one out in fresh freesia. And then I just alternated because there's 12 pieces there, so 12 pieces to the pie. So I alternated and then put one on each of the backgrounds just to play with the colors, and I thought they turned out so cute. I loved them. Great great cards. So that is the Patchwork Pieces. So I'm going to flip you around here. Awesomeness. I love that word, Nancy. That's a good word. Always looking for good words because I talk weird. Anyhow, I hope you have a fantastic Memorial Day weekend. Thank you so much for joining. If you are watching on YouTube, if you could give me a thumbs up, that would be fantastic. Otherwise, I will see you again next Friday night. Thanks. Bye-bye.